So, Nuria, Pakistan's Lahore High Court Bar Association, in their press release, they said something damning. According to this press release, the Federal Intelligence Agency of Pakistan have identified not 1,000, not 2,000, but 400,000 accounts of Pakistanis who are blaspheming against the holy figures of Islam, the Quran, and the Prophet Muhammad in the worst possible manner. You would forget about that Rasmussen Paludan guy. You'd forget about Charlie Hebdo. You'd forget about those things. You'd forget about whatever the worst blasphemy you've ever seen. People in huge numbers are blaspheming in Pakistan on dark web. That's according to not a word of mouth, but Pakistan's own Federal Intelligence Agency. And they're saying, how come you, out of these 400,000 people, you've only booked 120 or 119 people under the Blasphemy Act, and 11 people have been sentenced to death. Now, there was this news report that came out last year where they were trying to identify which countries produce most Islamophobic tweets. And no surprises there. Again, there's a problem with Islamophobia a bit. That definition is thrown into disarray with this new press release that's come out of Pakistan, what Islamophobia actually means. So Muslims are Islamophobic now. So this study that was done last year, they concluded that India is the most Islamophobic tweet-producing country, then US, then the UK, Canada, Nigeria, which is also a Muslim country, Australia, and then Pakistan, Nuria. Pakistan, so according to this study, Pakistan is the 7th most Islamophobic country, and then obviously UAE is there as well. So, with the UAE, you could say, okay, there are a lot of Indians there, so maybe they're spreading this Islamophobia. But Pakistan is made up of 96% of Pakistan's population is made up of Muslims. So, are they Islamophobes as well? Now that all makes sense. Pakistan is the 7th most Islamophobic country. Pakistan's own Federal Intelligence Agency has identified 400,000 accounts that are actively blaspheming. Now, how are they blaspheming? First of all, before I actually show you some videos, which are music to my ears, but before I go there, does that number shock you, Nuria? 400,000 people? That's like I know it's only 0.2% of Pakistan's population, but these are not apostates. These are angry ex-Muslims. I've been warning the Pakistani community that there is an angry lot of ex-Muslims coming who are not going to be kind, and we won't be able to control them. And those people are angry. Why they're angry? Because you beat them up, you shove Islam down their throats, you shut down all restaurants. In the month of Ramadan, this month of blessings turns into a month of curse for these people. These are young kids of the 21st century. They don't want to fast. They don't believe in your flying donkey stories. They don't believe in any of that. The more you shove this religion down their throats, the more rebellious they're going to become. And we've seen that in Iran as well. Iran is definitely a bit more hawkish when it comes to enforcing Islamic values on people. And look, women are burning their hijabs. People are openly rebelling against the Islamic values. They're saying anything but Islam in our government. And I was always a bit skeptical towards Pakistan, but I'm shocked to see this number. How do you see this number? Has that come as a surprise to you, or?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's very interesting, like this whole new development. But yeah, I guess, and the dark web, in just my understanding, would be a good place to locate these people, because the ones who are blaspheming, quote unquote, on a more mainstream level, they are the ones that we hear about, who are actually, the ones who are languishing in jail, or they're the ones who are having to have, lawyers defend them, almost with the whole nation against them. So yeah, that's a very interesting figure. But it just kind of like the survey that you pulled up, where Pakistan was one of the top countries for Islamophobic tweets. It just goes to show that like you said, the majority of the population in Pakistan are Muslims, but within the umbrella of Muslim, you've got at least like 10 to 12 different flavors going on within Pakistan, and technically they are all Islamophobic towards one another. So I'd be a bit wary to say every single one of those is just an angry ex-Muslim per se. I'd like to think some of those are genuine apostates. But again, when you're in a country where being a Deoband versus a Barelvi versus a Salafi versus a mainstream, whatever, Sunni, going to one madrasa versus another is enough to cause friction. I mean, how many of the Islamic leaders or imams or whatever you call them there have actually done blasphemy cases against one another? So if you're doing it at the highest level, it's just, it seems like there's a lot of Muslim infighting happening as well, which I think we need to recognize.
Yeah, that's a very good point you made, because obviously the immediate litmus test is if you see a supposed Muslim insulting Abu Bakr, Umar, and Uthman, then it means that immediately they're Shias. They're not necessarily ex-Muslims. They just hate those people. And a lot of that is happening as well. So they've identified that as well. Pakistan modified the blasphemy law at the start of this year. Now you could go to prison for up to 10 years and as well as get death sentence, even if you insult the first three caliphs, because Shias love to insult them. So they just double down on that. So you're right. In these 400,000 accounts, it's possible that a lot of them are these different sects of Muslims. But so, as far as Deobandis and Barelvis are concerned, they won't be blaspheming against any as holy figures. So anyway, just to show you the extent of this whole blasphemy issue in Pakistan, let me show you this video. So bear with me.
लग जाए ये 2-3 लोग नहीं है, ये पाकिस्तान में कोई 1-2 हजार नहीं है। FIA साइबर क्राइम की रिपोर्ट के मुताबिक जो मुझे आज दिखाई गई है, उसके मुताबिक इनकी तादाद पाकिस्तान में 4 लाख है। 120 लोग गिरफ्तार हो चुके, 11 लोगों को सजाए मौत हो चुकी है। हम करें तो करें क्या, किस दरवाजे पर दस्तक दें? हम ये सवाल करना चाहते, क्या हम मुल्क में जलाओ घेराव करें? आपके मुल्क में तो हाल ये हो गया है कि दारिया किस्म के लोग.
Now that's another key point as well, because we have seen the rise of these new Muslim apologists in the Pakistani sphere who see themselves as specialists of countering atheistic principles. Because obviously, as you know, yours truly was the first one in Pakistani sphere in producing content in Urdu, specifically criticizing Islam. And then initially all these other clerics like these, they have no arguments, they have no understanding of atheism, let alone them countering atheistic ideas. Now, since then, a lot of other people have started coming forward, and they're like, they supposedly specialize in countering atheistic ideas or atheistic arguments. So they have recognized this problem, that this atheism is spreading like wildfire. But as Nuria made a good point, that it'd be premature to say that all of these 400,000 people are atheists. But, you know, something is happening.
But Haris, also a quick question. Is that true? Are there atheist professors lecturing at some of Pakistan's top universities or nah?
Yeah, they don't openly call themselves atheists, but they are accused of atheism. For example, do you remember this story we covered? I think a month ago, there was this professor in ComSats University, which is one of the high-tech universities of Pakistan, where in an English literature class, they asked this question of Mark and Julie, of incest. They asked this moral question of incest. And that professor was sacked. He was accused of being an agent of the West and liberalism and blah, blah, blah. So we don't know whether he's an atheist or not, but those are kind of questions that you would not see them being asked in a country like Pakistan.
That's literally such a question I would naturally be expected to be asked at university. I don't like the fact that they've called
not
it
in Pakistan.
I know that's so wild that it's just the stuff. Oh gosh, okay, but yeah,
so that's just one example. There's so many. It's become common knowledge. I'm obviously not there. I haven't been to Pakistan, nor I intend to go there, because my life expectancy will go down quite drastically. But a lot of people are complaining that there are a lot of atheistic professors, these students in these high-end, top-end universities. They openly talk about atheism and they openly diss religion and blah blah blah. So they're saying that. So something must have been happening. It's the universities where these things start. It always happens that way. And I've always said it, no society remains static. Either it evolves or it devolves. Something's always changing. Change is the only thing that is
Constant.
permanent.
Change is the only
Yes.
constant.
आपके यहाँ लेक्चर्स दे रहे और ये किसी एक घर की कहानी नहीं है, अब घर घर की कहानी बन चुकी है। एक आलम दीन तौहीन करते हुए पकड़ा गया।
That's interesting as well, as you said. Even a scholar of Islam was caught blaspheming. I have people on my Urdu channel call in who say that, oh, they are imams of these mosques and they've lost their faith, but they don't know what else they can do. So they just stay there. They keep doing this. They keep preaching Islam, but they also drop subtle doubts in people's minds on loudspeaker. So they're everywhere. I've always believed that they're going to appear everywhere, as this guy says.
I was also just thinking, at the rate that blasphemy is happening in Pakistan, it's almost hard not to blaspheme. It's harder not to.
आज उन्होंने मुझे जो रिपोर्ट दिखाई है, उस रिपोर्ट को देखकर मेरे रोंगटे खड़े हो गए। ये सब इस मुल्क में हो रहा है। ऐ वालिदैन, अपना हक अदा करो, बच्चों की निगरानी करो, और बच्चों की निगरानी हमने इस तरह से करनी है। उस दिन मुफ्ती अबू मोहम्मद साहब ने एक
install these apps. There's a typical excuse they use, like, oh, there's a foreign conspiracy.
तबाह करने की साजिश की जा रही है। मैं सिर्फ इशारतन ये अर्ज कर रहा हूं, फैसल कुरैशी साहब प्राइवेट पार्ट्स पर ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाह मुहम्मद रसूलुल्लाह सय्यदा तय्यबा ताहिरा आबिदा जाहिदा ज़किया मुज़क्किया हजरत सय्यदा फातिमा का नाम लिखा हुआ है। इससे पहले हम मर क्यों नहीं गए? ये दिन देखने से पहले हमें मौत क्यों नहीं आ गई? इस वक्त ये कहा जा रहा है कि हम 7 अप्रैल को पाकिस्तान में तहफ़्फ़ुज़ नामूस रिसालत का दिन मनाने जा रहे हैं। मोहतरम फैसल कुरैशी साहब, उलमा आगाही फराम करे। ऐ वालिदैन, रब्बे काबा का वास्ता,
Oh God, is this real?
और किरदार अदा करो और अपने बच्चों को, अपने मुल्क को और इस्लाम
Look at this last line.
को बचाओ। ये मेरा पैगाम है, ये जज्बाती होना नहीं है।
I didn't mean to be melodramatic. The amount of insult, or the kind of insult that he's pointing out. What's that Norwegian guy, the Rasmussen Paludan or whatever his name is, or Charlie Hebdo? Even they haven't done anything like that. They're not. He's saying that they have identified 400,000 accounts that are doing blasphemy like this. They're writing the names of Fatima, the daughter of the Prophet, and these other women. This is why it tells me, like, I mean, even a Sunni Muslim would not do that to Fatima. I know there's this clash between how much we need to respect the Sahabas or the companions versus the family of the Prophet. I understand that, but they don't abuse them though. But these guys are writing their names on their private parts, on their penises, and it's not only just boys writing that on their penises, it's actually women as well, not just men, women as well. So it's just, I don't know. This is next level blasphemy.
ये पैगाम जाना चाहिए कि हम में से कोई भी ये चीज बर्दाश्त नहीं कर सकता और हर एक इस बाब में अपना किरदार अदा करे। मैं चाहूंगा कि सब खड़े होकर
Oh yeah, let's stand up.
Oh,
let's stand up.
ताकि कौम तक एक पैगाम पहुंचे। नबी
Christ's
अलैहिस्सलाम की
sake.
इज्जत और नामूस जिस मुल्क में
I'm
महफूज
giving the prophet a standing ovation right now.
Look at them clawing.
किसी जगह पे तौहीन नहीं सुनी।
Look at it.
में जो ये सारा कुछ देख रहे हैं,
Oh my God, this has to be a
जिंदगी खराब कर दी गई।
This guy who,
इस मुल्क का अमन, इस मुल्क की तबाही करने के लिए इस हद तक मेरा दुश्मन गिर जाएगा।
I can't believe this is a real country though. What's going on?
these guys, by the way, the first guy who was delivering this really fiery speech, I found another video of him I have
God, I
featured him
didn't
in the
mean to be
past.
melodramatic, but really was.
Yeah,
Formative.
it's this guy. Look at his other controversial views.
आप इसको
All the Pakistani, there are a lot of Pakistani people, they have come out in support of these guys. They're like, yeah, no compromise on the honor of our sacred personalities. Well, these are the kind of views these guys hold.
से भी जो है वो देख लीजिए कि बाप का इख्तियार कितना होता है, वली का इख्तियार कितना होता है। ये आनाफ क्या है कि बाप 3 साल की बच्ची, 4 साल की बच्ची, 2 महीने की बच्ची का निकाह कर सकता है। ये आनाफ क्या है?
3 साल की
बच्ची का भी कर सकता है, 5 साल की बच्ची का भी कर सकता है, नाबालिग का निकाह कर सकता है, रुखसती नहीं कर सकता। जाहिर है वो तो बुलूगत के बाद होगी। और अगर बाप ने निकाह कर दिया तो बाप के निकाह को बाद में बेटी बातिल नहीं करार दे सकती।
So that's the kind of people who this movie star is sitting with. And when he got called out, instead of apologizing, he set off these people against these liberal Muslims who are saying that, hang on a second, you shouldn't do this. This is dog whistling. We already know how many people have died in this country in the name of blasphemy. So what he does, he even dog whistles, or he gets his guys to even insinuate that these people who are condemning this actor are also blasphemers. Watch this.
देना चाहते हैं कि जो लोग इस वक्त फैसल साहब के साथ, फैसल कुरैशी के खिलाफ लगे हुए हैं, इन्हीं को पहचाने। इनका लिंक है उन लोगों के साथ कि जो लोग ये मकरू धंधा और ये जो मुल्क के अंदर ये खराबी का बायस बन रहा है, इनको पहचाने, इनके अकाउंट्स को चेक करें। इनका ताल्लुक निकलेगा उन ब्लास्फेमर्स के साथ कि जो लोग ये कर रहे हैं। वगरना भाई हम चोर को चोर कह रहे हैं, हम गंदे को गंदा कह रहे हैं, इसमें हमने कौन सी गलत बात की है? और चोर को चोर कहने पर अगर कोई शोर कर रहे तो समझ रहे हैं कि जनाब वाले ये भी चोर कर।
But again, my point is, there's nothing they can do now. The people openly dissenting. We've seen that in Iran, and now I'm more hopeful than ever that there's going to be these 400,000 people are going to turn into 4 million within 5 years, if not more. Because I've always said it, any change is only one generation away. This is bound to happen. The more you shove this religion down the throats of these people who are born, these kids who are born in the 21st century, they're not going to buy your, oh, Muhammad flew to heaven on a winged donkey, or it's appropriate to marry, for a 52-year-old guy to marry a 9-year-old child, or sucking the tongue of a boy. They're not going to buy that. They're not going to look. No, it's done. It's over. The age of Islam is over. And for the last 1400 years, the reason why Islam flourished, or seemingly flourished, was because you kept killing apostates. You can't do that anymore. It's not going to happen. These 400,000 people, out of these 400,000 people, the Pakistani authorities have only charged 119 people. That tells you a lot, that they are helpless. Pakistanis are so incompetent in everything that they can't even be a good police state. They can't even do these brutal crackdowns properly. They can't. They're not going to charge 400,000 people. They've identified 400,000 people, or accounts at least. Let's just say out of 400,000 accounts, they're being run by 100,000 people. Let's just say 100,000 people. So they're not going to be able to put them all in prison. They're not going to be able to give death sentences to these 100,000 people. They can't do that because the international community is going to go after them. This country is already dying economically, politically. There's political instability. They can't do this. So there's only one way out. Adopt these modern, progressive, humanistic, liberal, secular values. Accept for people who they are. Look at the West. Nobody kills an ex-Christian. Therefore, people don't feel the need to blaspheme against Mother Mary or Jesus Christ. Some people just do it to prove a point, but there is no urgency. There's no need to just be defecating on the Bible. There's no need. There are no angry ex-Christians. Yes, there was this phase of anti-theists or angry atheists, you could say, but that's fizzled out as well, because ex-Christians are not being murdered. Christianity is not being shoved down the throats of these people. That's the reason why they say, oh, Muhammad is the most loved person on the planet. Let me break it to you. Muhammad is also the most ridiculed person in the world. They say most amount of books and documentaries have been made on Adolf Hitler. That might be true because he's perceived to be the biggest monster of the 20th century, even though I think Stalin was bigger than that. But at least these people who are writing books on Adolf Hitler, they're doing that. They're analyzing him academically. Muhammad is not only just being rebuffed academically, but is also being mocked at. The reason for that is because you kill apostates. You say you cannot criticize Muhammad. They say you can't even criticize Muhammad academically. Let me play this video.
नबी अलैहिस्सलाम की ज़ाते वाला सिफात पर किसी किस्म का कोई ऐब, कोई नक्स, कोई तंज, कोई तनकीद करें तो शरीयत इस्लामिया ने उनकी सजा मुकर्रर की है कि ऐसे लोग वाजिबुल कत्ल हैं। कुरान इस पर किसी किस्म की माफी कोई भी शख्स नहीं दे सकता।
Defecating on the Quran or writing the names of these holy figures on your private parts. Okay, that's next level. But it's not like that. Okay, fine. That's just too much. But you don't even allow normal criticism of Muhammad. You don't even allow dissent. You don't even allow people to say, okay, you know what? To you is your religion. To me is my lack of religion. You don't even allow that. In Pakistan, if you convert from any other religion to Islam, you can do it. No problems. No questions asked. But if you are a Muslim and you change to any other religion or you leave religion altogether, you have to appear in court. And you know what's going to happen? They're going to ask you, so why did you leave Islam? I'm sorry, I wasn't convinced by Prophet Muhammad's action of marrying a little child or asking kids to suck his tongue. Blasphemy, put him in prison. So that's why nobody goes there. No one is going to register himself as an atheist in Pakistan. That's the reason. So that's the hypocrisy of these people. And fortunately, people can see outside of Pakistan. You cannot keep these cultures isolated from the rest of the world anymore. As long as you have the internet, you're going to have people dissenting. People are going to dissent. People are going to identify these problems. They're going to see these issues within their own culture, and they're going to say, hang on a second, that's not right. And so when liberals of Pakistan, which is a rare commodity, and people like us, when we started criticizing this TV network, this movie star, that what are you doing? You're doing this on prime time on prime TV, on national TV. What are you doing? They said, no. We're only talking about everything according to the law. We're not promoting vigilante action. But look at this. They were eulogizing this. They were singing these hymns on national TV, prime time. Look at this. Basically, this is what they're doing. I tweeted about this, and thankfully, a lot of people responded to that tweet. I got a lot of engagement. The Print, which is a major left-leaning liberal news publication organization in India, they covered that news story. They responded to this tweet of mine. And I am expressing my deep concerns. I feel that the government of Pakistan is going to initiate a brutal crackdown on these political dissidents. And what breaks my heart is that these are just children, maybe not in the eyes of the law, but they could be children. There could be 16, 17, young adults, 18, 19-year-old boys and girls who are just sick of this religiously suffocating environment. And Pakistan government is going to initiate this crackdown. They can't charge all of these 100,000, 200,000 or 400,000, however many people there are. They can't charge than with blasphemy, because obviously that would be registered. But we have had stories of people who have been sodomized, tortured in captivity during interrogations of when FIA and when these people arrest these accused. And so I'm worried about that. That's going to happen. So please follow us on Twitter. Tag the US Embassy in Islamabad, UK High Commission in Islamabad, EU Commission, other human rights organizations, the United Nations. You need to tag them. You need to send emails to them, and you need to tell them, you need to urge them to keep an eye on the Pakistani government, because these people, I'm worried. I'm genuinely worried that Pakistan is going to initiate a brutal crackdown. They're not going to. Islam is not the beast that just takes it lying down. It just doesn't roll over and die. It fights back.
So with a country like Pakistan, for example, in this situation, yes, I think there's every cause for concern for people to be alarmed, people within Pakistan, these people supposedly who are doing these actions on the dark web. But again, as you mentioned, it just signifies how much to the brink people have been pushed if this is the kind of antics that they're resorting to, if they really are desecrating and writing their names on their private parts. And I mean, you and I hate Islam as much as the next person, but I don't think that that's our way of expressing it. But I mean, that's what happens when you get like a bottleneck in society and you put so much pressure. And then again, it is the height of, again, as even coming from a Pakistani background, this is why I really have given up so much hope that I used to have on that country, because as you said, like, first of all, they're on the brink of economic collapse at the moment. They are literally going begging to the World Bank and the IMF. And the current state of affairs, they know that their human rights record in terms of blasphemy is appalling, yet you need these things for your GSP plus status. You need to make certain promises. You need to show that you're improving. So again, society is so frustrated because you've got all these factions of Muslim different types of Muslims going against each other. Yeah, basically, this is what happens when, I mean, the Shias in Pakistan are not protected at all. The minorities, I don't think they're the ones who are going to go out of their way to do this. They are just trying to put food on the table and survive another day in a country like Pakistan. So it does beg the question that who are these people if they're saying they are young people and they're from everyone, like top down in society, from the elite, from the army, like from army backgrounds and those kind of families, to, let's say, anyone who gets frustrated about Islam. But it's a country that's really stuck between a rock and a hard place, because you want to hold on to Islam so much, yet at the very root, as you said, Faisal Qureshi himself, all of these performative mullahs, who knows what they get up to behind closed doors. Faisal Qureshi even says, yes, I'm an actor and I know that I do a certain level of haram things. My issue with the hypocrisy that these Muslims have is everybody is okay in their own, they're justifying their own behavior. But when it comes to a certain line, for example, burning the Quran or desecrating on the Quran or, whatever. And I agree. I don't think that's naturally the best way forward or to make a point. But these people have been driven, if they are doing what they say they're doing, to make a point in such a drastic manner. But again, it's hypocritical of these people because, for example, if a minority in Pakistan blasphemes, all Muslims come together and say that's wrong. No, you don't see certain sects calling it out and saying, actually, let's give them rights. Let's give them equal rights. Let's allow them into positions of power. Let's not make them just do the blue collar cleaning dead end jobs as like the bottom feeder of society. But when it's them calling each other out, that's when it becomes really, really messy. And again, they have all just come together now and said there's a line. You're getting private parts involved. You're getting fecal matter involved. You're getting, that's why all the performative crying and stuff ensued. And Faisal Qureshi, even though he and his family might live a very chilled out, liberal, Pakistani-esque Islamic lifestyle,
Western lifestyle.
Comes to, for all intents and purposes, when it comes to, oh my gosh, now it's our holy sacred book. That's a relic you don't touch, you don't mess with. They all agree on that. So again, it's just herd mentality playing out in like various ways. But yeah, I think it's definitely alarming. Yeah. Very
quickly on that point though, when you said that they might gathered around and they might say, okay, well, us all collectively wouldn't allow this. I think even that part, I think for people like Faisal Qureshi, I think they probably don't even care about that, because they do all these haram things. They need someone to whitewash it for them. So who's going to whitewash it for them? These mullahs, these clerics. They're going to say, oh, Faisal Bhai, we know that what you do is wrong, but thank you very much for standing up for the honor of the Prophet. You are a true Muslim. And then they go like, well, soup. Now I have a license to do whatever I want. I can keep on doing what I'm doing, and therefore, I've done my part. There's so many other people.
That's a great point. Sorry, just because that fits very much in line with Islam itself, right? Like it's guaranteed in Islam that no matter what you do, whether you rape, pillage, loot, steal, lie, whatever, even commit adultery, there's hadiths about it. All you have to do is show your quote unquote Muslimness or your loyalty to the faith by proclaiming, yeah, this is wrong, or I'll say the Shahada. That was Faisal Qureshi's little back into the fold. Like, this is, and that's all Muslims require really at the end of the day. It's just showing that solidarity with the Ummah. No matter what you do in your private life, you'll always be welcome back.
If you like these videos and want to support me in my activism, then you can support me on Patreon or PayPal. Stay free, everyone.